Hello, welcome. I'm popping on here today with the intention of chatting about inspiration and allowing our own intuitive guidance to take the lead. And I'm wondering how many of you out there have had any difficulty or challenge with really connecting with darker emotions or what we might call negative emotions, or things that may be harder to process, that we may sort of choose to distract ourselves from or escape rather than allowing ourselves to feel them. And if so, I would love to hear, if you're comfortable being vulnerable, some of your experiences and maybe what feelings or emotions seem to be the most uncomfortable. And I find it really interesting how we have this new sort of trend around being positive. I guess it's not that new, but the focus on you got to be positive, you have to see the light. And sometimes those, like, I understand where that's coming from, I understand where that's coming from, but people who haven't been in tune with themselves and who have limited skills around emotional intelligence and allowing their feelings to really be felt and having presence with them might use this as a skipped step where they are avoiding, escaping, or almost like blocking, like numbing out from those feelings in order to remain positive. This whole channel was developed on YouTube because I have this deep inner belief and experience that we're here to be human, to have experience of the full spectrum. So the dark and the light, the shadow and the divine, the uncomfortable feelings and the joyous expansion and bliss. And part of being human is allowing ourselves to experience this light and dark human. And then that invites us into more of a state of being rather than doing. And so, long story short, I ended up having some issues where I was getting like chronic pain, and certain parts of my body were experiencing repeated like discomfort, even when nothing really happened. Like, I would go to my treating healthcare provider and I would say, oh, this is really sore. And they would be like, oh, did you do something? And I'm like, no. Or they would say, oh, you have a lot of tension. Have you been doing X activity? And I'm like, no, I haven't done anything different. And finding it really interesting that my body was demonstrating tension even when nothing physically had changed. And the deeper I allowed myself to unravel some of the emotional blockages and the places where I wasn't really in touch with even what I was feeling, is really what inspired this tool that came through me in 2020. And it was shortly after I had gone through a breakup that was painful. Obviously, breakups can be painful. And it was the first time where I decided to stay single and really just be with myself. So I did that in the past, but I would date still, or I would still like kind of distract myself with activities. But for the past 3 years, I have really mostly been with myself and focused on healing and using this tool that was gifted to me through channeling that has sort of evolved over time, and with using the tool and offering readings to other people and inviting them to experience the tool, it has sort of refined itself. And I wonder, like, how many of us have these really unique visions or ideas or concepts that come to us, and then our mind hooks in right away and tells us why it's not important, why no one would care, why it's silly to pursue these things. And so I sort of sat in that realm, and there was a lot of emotion and a lot of doubt coming up, and a lot of like fear of what if this actually, like underneath it all, the root of it was like, what if this actually is a big deal? Like, what if people actually really appreciate this tool that you're putting out into the world? And sometimes I wonder if that's the bigger fear. People say that it's a fear of failure, it's a fear of, um, not being enough, or of criticism. But in a lot of ways, we're actually more attuned and um, accustomed to those types of reactions than, and not everybody, I guess, but like societally, than we are to being like really amplified and seen and appreciated for our uniqueness or things that we bring, other than maybe like on the celebrity scale. Yeah. So anyway, I had been sitting with this concept for a while, and back in 2021 I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to print this, I'm going to mass produce it, and I'm going to get it out to people. And then right away my heart was like, oh my goodness, we can't do that. Well, let's just do a few. We'll just print like 5 copies, and then realizing the cost of that was very expensive. And then this whole idea of, well, maybe it's not meant for other people, maybe it was just meant for you. And so I was pursuing the process of getting quotes, and something stopped me in 2021 from really completing that. And then just this past week, my heart was like, you need to open that door again. It's time. Like, I literally use this tool every single day of my life, and it has helped me in so many ways. And it's helped other people that I've connected with for readings. And it amazes me how accurate it is when I literally created it with cue cards and some gel pens that I bought from Staples one day. So sometimes the simple things can have like a great impact, and we get in our heads around, well, it needs to be a certain way, it needs to be fancy, it needs to be elaborate, it needs to be more than what I can do for it to be well received. So I reached out and got a new quote, because obviously prices have changed in the last couple of years. And my heart was like, okay, it's time. You need to go ahead with this. And so the unveiling is coming soon. And there will be more to share very soon. But I'm also curious, like, how many of us out there are sitting on something that's like a golden egg, and either we don't realize it, we're afraid to admit it, or there's just this overwhelming sense of fear around it being the next big thing. So I would love for you to have experienced or can relate to this. Please stay tuned for more information. Guys, much love. So, celebrating with all of you, and I trust you're all in your lives.